Well, folks, things just got heated in the world of politics, and we're here to break it all down for you. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has just thrown his hat into the ring on a fiery exchange between Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. And let's just say, he didn't hold back. With Trump back in the White House, the global balance of power has shifted, and Australia's response? Firm, clear, and, some would say, a direct challenge to the new US administration. Strap in, because this one's a wild ride. Over the weekend, Albanese addressed the media, reaffirming Australia's unwavering support for Ukraine. But more than that, he made it crystal clear where Australia stands when it comes to Trump's approach to the war. And in a world where political alliances are shifting like sand, Albo's words might just put Australia in a very tricky position. So, what's the drama? Let's rewind. At a recent high-stakes meeting, Trump and his Vice President, J.D. Vance, reportedly had a tense back-and-forth with Zelensky, questioning ongoing U.S. support for Ukraine's war effort. Now, you'd think after 3 years of war, America's position would be clear. But Trump, well, he's never been one to follow the playbook, has he? And Albanese? He wasn't about to let this slide. Fronting the media on Saturday morning, he delivered a blunt, no-nonsense response, making it clear that Australia isn't about to waver in its support for Ukraine, no matter what Washington decides. We stand with Ukraine, he declared. They are not just fighting for their own national sovereignty. They are fighting for the international rule of law. Now, let's pause here for a second. Albanese is basically saying that if Ukraine loses, the whole international order takes a hit. And if Trump is even considering cutting support, Australia sure as hell isn't following suit. But wait, it gets even spicier. Albo didn't just take a swing at Trump's foreign policy. He also took direct aim at Vladimir Putin, calling him out as a leader with imperialistic designs not just on Ukraine, but on the entire region. And let's be real, that's not exactly a controversial take. Putin has been gunning for Ukraine since 2014. But calling him a bully? That's the kind of language that doesn't go unnoticed. And speaking of bullies, when questioned about the Trump-Zelensky clash, Albanese didn't mince words. He made it clear that the real problem isn't Ukraine's ability to fight, it's Russia's refusal to stop its illegal and immoral invasion. I'll tell you how you get peace in Ukraine really quickly, he said. Russia needs to stop its attacks on civilians, its destruction of infrastructure, and its aggression that has been ongoing for 3 years. A solid point, right? But here's where things get dicey. With Trump back in power, world leaders are treading carefully. He's unpredictable. And when it comes to international relations, unpredictability isn't always a good thing. Albanese, however, seems to be making it clear that Australia won't be bending the knee to Trump's shifting stance on Ukraine. And let's not forget, Trump has made no secret of his skepticism about foreign aid. During his first term, he was notorious for questioning why the US should be footing the bill for other countries' wars. So, if he decides to scale back support for Ukraine, where does that leave Australia? Albanese isn't backing down. Australia's foreign policy is determined by Australia, he said. In other words, mate, we are not just gonna follow the US blindly. But here's where it gets really juicy. Trump's meeting with Zelensky wasn't just awkward, it's sending shockwaves through global politics. Many are now wondering, if Trump can brush off Ukraine like that, what does it mean for other allies? And for Australia, a country that has long relied on US backing, could this be the start of a more independent foreign policy stance? And let's talk about the optics. Albanese's comments have been well received by Ukraine supporters, but let's not kid ourselves. Trump is known to hold grudges. And if Australia is seen as challenging his approach, could there be consequences down the line? Trade? Military cooperation? Diplomatic relations? It's a high-stakes game, and Albanese has just placed Australia firmly in the middle of it. So, what happens next? Well, if Trump decides to pivot away from Ukraine, will Australia be left carrying the burden alone? And if that happens, will Albanese's firm stance start to look less like leadership and more like a dangerous gamble? One thing's for sure, this isn't the last we'll hear about this. The Trump-Zelensky spat has set the stage for a major shake-up in global alliances, and Australia's role in all of it? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. But what do you reckon? Is Albo making the right call by standing firm with Ukraine? Or is he putting Australia in the firing line of Trump's unpredictable foreign policy? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear what you think. And as always, if you want more deep dives into the biggest global stories, don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll be keeping a close eye on this one, so stay tuned. Cheers!